Hey folks, Doug Turnbull here in my traffic NASCAR-y, whatever you want to call it, cave. And I've talked about NASCAR from this area before. I've talked a little bit about traffic, but I have to kind of weigh in on the sort of estuary of issues that arise here from this announcement that the Atlanta Braves, at the beginning of the 2017 season, are going to be moving to Cobb County. Yeah, y'all have heard the big story. Tons of people have opinions on it, and now here's my take on that. First off, you have the traffic situation. Downtown, you kind of hit critical mass. People are used to the terrible traffic down there. But this is sort of untested, moving the Atlanta Braves Stadium to near what we call the Cobb Cloverleaf, I-75 and I-285. How much worse could it really get through there? Downtown, unless you block the interstate, no matter what kind of event's going on, generally it doesn't usually get backed up further than past, say, Cheshire Bridge or Northwood Hills on I-85, or say the Lenox area on Georgia 400 and Howell Mill on 75, unless there's an extreme situation. Braves games do not count as extreme situations. Unless you block lanes, of course, then you have that issue going into downtown. Usually it's about a half hour or maybe 45 minutes at the most, Buckhead down to I-20, sometimes more, but we're used to that. We know what's going to happen. Move this deal out to Cobb County, where 75 traffic affects I-285, and I-285 traffic affects Georgia 400, and Georgia 400 traffic affects the surface streets around it. Who knows what could actually go wrong or maybe go right heading between, say, Sandy Springs and Marietta to try to go and view a Braves game here in a couple of years. The Atlanta Braves, here are the pros. They wanted to move the stadium to an area closer to its fan base. There's no joke or no real question that the majority of Atlanta's Braves fans are middle class, higher middle class, and generally live outside of the perimeter, closer to the northern suburbs. Putting this situation, the new Braves Stadium that is, in that area is going to get it closer to its fans. Atlanta also, the Atlanta Braves, are going to make it a mixed-use development area and create jobs and so forth for Cobb County, but also make it for a better fan experience when you go to the game. Some of the things you could only do inside of the stadium, maybe you could do outside, bars, restaurants, maybe even people could live next to it. It's supposed to be a live, work, play development area that the Braves are going to invest in and kind of oversee and make some change for themselves. There's this aspect, though, to consider. Yeah, there's the traffic and all the things that can happen, but let's zoom out from traffic just a little bit. This is the part that really tugs at my heart the most. Is not just the tradition thrown down the drain. The fact that the Atlanta Braves have been an Atlanta team since they began here in 1966, have been in the downtown Atlanta area for 50 years in their last season in Turner Field. But it's also this idea that we're not satisfied with the things we have. Some people argue that the Georgia Dome, which, by the way, if you haven't heard, the Falcons are going to get a new stadium, right? The Georgia Dome is not, was not up to snuff, but Turner Field was debuted in 1997. The Olympic Stadium, that was the configuration before, was built during 1995 and into the 1996 Olympics. It's not an old joint. It was reconfigured to be a new, modern ballpark. It's not run down. The improvements that have been made there have been made over time. And now the Braves, because of these different issues, are taking it out to the suburbs. It's not that I'm not okay with it being in the suburbs. It's just the idea that we're totally putting to waste a ballpark that it had a lease with the city of Atlanta with, that's totally good and is in an area that's completely decimated and not built up to it. It's going to sit there and eventually get destroyed, just like I watched with my own two eyes in 1997 as both the Omni and Turner make that Fulton County Stadium got destroyed themselves. Another thing to consider, if you're thinking about this, is the idea that the team can move it, the team will move it, because they know they can get the public funds for it out of Cobb County's pocket. And the idea that these entities that make a lot of money are able to get taxpayer money for it, it's the difference maker these days. And I still, deep down, this is not traffic related, I know it's kind of political, I just think that's wrong. If the Braves are really going to generate all this revenue from it, they're going to pay taxes anyway, I know, and that's supposed to make up for it. But they're sort of getting it all up front, and they're getting on the backs of people that don't have a choice whether they want to go to the game or not. So just like with the Falcons and the Arthur Blank situation in Atlanta and their billion-dollar stadium that's going to shoot up here in a few years down there on the site in northwest Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, now you have a situation with the Braves moving to Cobb County. Yeah, we're outraged about the traffic impact, but I'm more outraged that we're not satisfied with what we have in place already. The Braves say that the fans have better access to it. I beg to differ. I think that with no MARTA out in Cobb County and with the clogged interstates that you're going to have going over there that could get even worse than the downtown connector, we're still going to have those same problems. So the Braves in the end will win from this. but it's sort of a principle issue here that gets violated yet again, the public paying for another stadium, and really the situation not being that much better because people aren't going to go to the games if they can't get there. I'm Doug Turnbull. Sorry to politic you just a little bit, but I thought I'd weigh in traffic-wise and otherwise on what is the hot-button issue in Atlanta today. Thanks for taking to the traffic blog here. I'll write something the next time. Good day.